Most people think money is a math problem. It isn't. Money is a mirror. It shows you in numbers exactly what you believe about yourself, whether you've ever looked closely enough to admit it. You don't have a spending problem. You don't have a saving problem. You have a set of quiet behaviors, repeated so many times, they no longer feel like choices. They feel like who you are. And that's the trap. Because if it feels like identity, you stop questioning it. You stop noticing it. It just runs in the background, quietly deciding your future while you believe you're the one deciding. Today, we take that apart. Not to shame you, to show you exactly where the leak is, so you can finally close it.
Think about the last time you bought something you didn't need. It wasn't really about the object. It was about a feeling you were chasing. Relief, control, proof that you matter. The purchase was never the point. The purchase was the exit door from a feeling you didn't want to sit with. This is the first truth of money behavior. Every dollar you spend without thinking is a dollar spent running from something. Stress spending, boredom spending, reward spending, revenge spending, when you buy something just to feel like you're winning against a day that beat you. Different names, same mechanism. An emotion arrives, and instead of feeling it, you convert it into a transaction. The feeling gets numbed for an hour. The money is gone for good. The undisciplined mind spends to feel something. The disciplined mind saves to become something. That's not a slogan. That's a complete shift in what money is for. One version of you uses money as an emotional anesthesia. The other uses it as a tool for building a life. Same income, same bills. Two entirely different outcomes, decades apart.
Most people manage money the way they manage their emotions, reactively. A bad day becomes a bad purchase. A good day becomes a reward purchase. Every emotional weather system gets translated into a transaction. And then, at the end of the month, they look at their account and wonder where the discipline went. It didn't go anywhere. It was never built. Because discipline isn't a switch you flip when you finally feel ready. Discipline is what you practice in the exact moments you feel least like practicing it. This is where most people quietly lie to themselves. They believe discipline will arrive later, after the next raise, after the debt is smaller, after life calms down. But discipline was never waiting on circumstances. It was waiting on a decision. And that decision is available to you right now, in whatever financial position you're currently in. Here is the quiet discipline of money. It is boring. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't perform for anyone. The person building real wealth is rarely the person talking about it. They're rarely posting about it either. They are the one who looked at a want, felt the pull, and simply didn't move. Not because they lack desire, because they've trained themselves to separate desire from action. That gap, the space between wanting and doing, is where every financially free person was built. Undisciplined people let that gap collapse instantly. They want, so they buy. Stimulus, response. No space in between for a decision to actually happen. The want arrives, and half a second later, so does the purchase confirmation. Disciplined people protect that gap like it's sacred. Because it is. It's the only place freedom can exist. Every second you extend between wanting and buying is a second where your future self gets a vote, instead of just your present impulse. That gap can be trained. It's a muscle, not a personality trait. The first time you feel the pull to buy and you wait, even just 24 hours, you are doing the exact rep that builds this. It won't feel powerful. It will feel like nothing happened. That's exactly what discipline feels like from the inside. Unremarkable in the moment, compounding over time. So the real question is never, how do I make more money? The real question is, what am I trying to feel when I spend the money I already have? Are you buying status because somewhere you decided your worth needs to be visible to other people? Are you buying comfort because you're avoiding a harder decision in another part of your life that money can't actually fix? Are you buying identity because the version of yourself you want to be feels closer when you're holding the object that person would own? None of those needs get solved by the purchase. They get postponed by it. The feeling returns, usually within days, and the only thing that's changed is your bank balance. Answer the question honestly, and half your financial problems dissolve.
Not because you earned more, but because you stopped bleeding money into a feeling that was never going to be filled by a purchase.
There's a second layer underneath all of this, and it's quieter than spending. It's comparison. You don't just spend to feel something. You spend to keep pace with a version of life you saw somewhere, on someone else's screen, in someone else's house, on someone else's vacation. But you never see the full picture. You see the purchase, not the debt behind it. You see the vacation, not the anxiety that funded it. Comparing your financial position to a curated highlight reel is a losing game by design, because you're comparing your real numbers to someone else's fiction. The disciplined person opts out of that game entirely. Not because they don't notice it. They notice it just as much as anyone. They've simply decided that another person's spending has no authority over their own life. Wealth is not built in a moment of inspiration. It is built in 10,000 unremarkable moments where you chose the harder, quieter path. The one where you closed the app, walked away from the cart, said no to the thing that would have felt good for an hour and cost you a piece of your future. Nobody sees those moments. Nobody claps for them. That's exactly why they work. Discipline that needs an audience isn't discipline. It's performance, and performance is expensive because it requires you to keep spending to maintain the image. Real financial discipline has no audience. It happens in a quiet apartment, at a kitchen table, at 2 in the morning when nobody is checking. It happens in the moment you almost bought something and didn't, and no one will ever know except you. That's where it's actually built.
Here's what makes this worth doing. Every act of restraint compounds. Not just financially, but in who you become. The first time you resist an impulse purchase, it costs you effort. The 100th time, it costs you almost nothing because you've become someone who simply doesn't do that anymore. That's the real prize. Not the money sitting in the account, though that matters too. The prize is becoming a person whose decisions aren't hijacked by every passing emotion. A person who has authority over their own emotions. That authority extends far beyond money. It shows up in how you eat, how you work, how you speak, how you show up when no one is watching. Money is simply the arena where this gets tested the most often, because temptation shows up daily, in your pocket, one tap away.
Build your relationship with money the way you'd build any other discipline, in silence, in repetition, in the space where no one is watching and you do the right thing anyway. That's the money behavior, not a budget, not a spreadsheet, a quiet, repeated refusal to let a feeling spend your future. Master that, and the money takes care of itself.